You can follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Facebook, we are YBM Chat Podcast. Instagram at YBM Chat. You can listen to us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts at YBM Chat.
Hey, it's Dashia D.
Hey, it's Cassondra.
Hey, it's Tre'Dub.
It's your girl, LadiiNova.
And we are
YBM Chat.
young Black millennials offering you a fresh new take you didn't know you needed.
Boy.
All right, so it just came in that Amber, who killed Botham Jean, I believe that was his name, in Dallas, when she entered his apartment, claiming that she thought it was hers as he was eating a bowl of ice cream on his couch. It just in that she has, made an appeal on her trial, and I'm over it, because what the fuck do you need an appeal for when you did it?
Well, they're saying that her attorneys are trying to say that the court needs to acquit her of that specific charge and maybe convict her of negligent homicide versus murder.
Or it can be murder because it was murder. And I don't remember what I said when it came out, because I know we was doing a podcast then, but my feelings remain. If I'm in there, you're not going to tell me as a cop you're not vigilant and know what's going on, because that is a part of your job. You're not going to tell me out of nowhere you just happen to think you are on the next floor when your floor is like the third one, and you just happen to wander on the fourth floor. The way the apartment's set up, you have, I think it was like a magnetized key or something. You knew that it wasn't yours. So no, It wasn't no accident. It wasn't none of that. You did it because you wanted to.
If they did acquit the specific charge of murder and knocked it down to the negligent homicide, but it was guaranteed that she would serve time? Because what if they do this whole thing over and they keep the same charge they currently have, and they say, you know what, we're going to acquit her of those charges because it's under murder versus negligent homicide? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Just so she gets time for something.
How much time?
I'm going to say there's no allotted time that could correct that. Because even if it gets changed, I feel like they'll be like, 10 years. And then boom, you'll hear within a year and a half, good behavior. So we knocked it down. She'll be out soon.
Well, she wasn't serving the 10 years to begin with. Remember, she was only going to serve a few of those, and then the others was going to be on probation. So.
But you got dudes in jail for possessing weed that with no intentions to sell for 25 plus years.
I don't know.
It's the privilege for me.
I might have said that's like I don't know when this happened, but I saw a post one of my friends had on Facebook, young Black boy, 14. They got him saying that he allegedly murdered someone and that they was going to charge him as a grown man for murder. But then you have the white girl, same age, 14, deliberately killed her own sister, her older sister, in the home. And everybody's in the comments, mental disease is a real thing. Yeah. It is a real thing, but no, she did it. It happened. It happened. You knew it was her. There was no allegedly in that clip for her news thing at all. She did it. I don't want to hear nothing mental. Black boy, they said it was allegedly, and he's a monster, lock him up, he don't know no good. I'm sick of the shit. I've had enough of it.
Yeah, I just did a quick search, and it said that negligent homicide sentences average from about 6 months to 10 years.
Oh my gosh.
So it sounds like 6 months.
Right.
That's if this appeal is even accepted. I mean, as of today, she is still convicted of murder. So let's hope that she serves time and she stays where she is, because that's what
somebody
she should
doesn't
be.
beat her in the leg with a broom. Or
She's protected in there. Trust and believe. She's not with the common folk.
And I already know people are going to be like, that's bad for you to say, but I'm exhausted. I'm so exhausted of the same narrative over and over and over and over. And, you know, like I said before, I can't lie. I'm kind of pissed with the family because y'all hugged her right after it happened. You hugged her and y'all talking about the Christian route. Like, you still have time to grieve. You still have time to process. Nobody said to go and jump into that in like 2 seconds. Because if it was me, if I'm hugging you, I'm stabbing you in the back because you done took one of my loved ones. I am
well wishes to what is it, Botham? I feel like I'm saying his
Botham or
name wrong.
Botham.
Yeah, his family, and hopefully she, like I said, she's serving time that she deserves to serve behind bars, not on the force.
And I said, let's not forget, you know, it's never behind us, ever before us. The church saying, again, raised up in it, but we still got so many other cases because Breonna Taylor is not finished. It's still going.
Yeah.
In lighter news, please give Lady Gaga her dog back.
Wow. Scruffy?
Oh, it's 2 of them. Either Coffee or Koji and Gustav. She's offering a $500,000 award for the return of her pups so that her family can be reunited.
Fifi.
I wish that I could find them dogs because
Right.
I sure can do so much.
Where she live at? LA?
I mean, you know, I'll take a little bit of money I got right now and go out there. Like, girl, I'll be out here all night. Koji,
Right.
I can pay off my car with that.
Koji, Gustav, Gustafson. Where you at?
Some toys and peanut butter.
All right, be out there with those squeakies. Come here, pop, pop, pop.
So now on to today's topic. So today's topic will be about managing relationships. So this kind of goes into a brief little backstory. So as y'all all know, that we all went to high school together. And on our senior year, like close to the end of our senior year or whatever, it was like around the time of prom. So Dashia and I specifically have been close, I would say, since high school, more so than middle school. But anywho, so during the time of pushing to the end of our senior year, like I said, prom's coming up. And so I've always been like that one guy who kind of like got along with everybody. And so, you know, everybody that meant from people that wasn't in our grade and things like that. So this kind of is relevant because I ended up taking someone to prom who was like a sophomore. At the time we were seniors. So think about it. She had time to 2 chances to go to prom, even beyond, you know, the time I was taking her. So anywho, I took her to prom or whatever. I was like, I had like a big crush on her at the time and stuff like that. So me just like having tunnel vision into, you know, being with this one specific person, taking them to prom, I personally kind of lost track on, you know, who was really there for me and who was really like, you know, good to me and, you know, who and basically was like, you know, a good friend to me by 100%. So later on, I find out I done go through all of this, like, you know, at the time, borrowed my mom's car, her Lexus, to pick up this girl and all of this stuff like that. And then turns out she didn't ever really care to even go to prom with me. She only went to prom with me low-key for someone else. I'm just leave it at that. And so also during that time is Dashia's birthday. So during that time, I had, and this is, y'all gonna be like, Trey, what the hell? How do you forget your best friend's birthday? I forgot my best friend's birthday. So maybe like the week after prom, I'm not sure exactly when you actually sent that message, but Dashia sent me this long paragraph text message about how she was so sad, how I missed her birthday, and that I basically was neglecting our friendship because I was just so into trying to please this girl that didn't give 2 shits about me. And so with that, I just felt so bad. And in turn, I ended up taking her and another one of our friends, treating them to, not Waffle House. It was IHOP. It was IHOP. And at the time, that was a big deal, believe it or not. So, to kind of like mend the situation, I ended up taking her to Waffle House. And I mean, you know, we've definitely obviously been in a good place ever since, but I wanted to use that story to kind of bring in our topic, which is managing relationships, whether that be friendships or relationships in a way. So with that, the point I was trying to make behind that is that, you know, when you are going to new relationships or new friendships, it's always, you know, good or healthy in a way to never forget, you know, whomever has been there for you in the beginning from the jump and stuff like that, because anyone that's new coming into your life, you don't know what their intentions are. So that's why I really kind of like, you know, wanted to bring this full-fledged into the topic. So Dashia.
So when you first brought it up, I didn't remember this, but when you said I sent the text, I was like, yeah, that sounds like me. Emotional, and I'm like, I'm gonna send this journal to this person so they understand where I'm coming from. I feel like I have struggled. Yeah, I'm gonna go with struggled. I feel like I've struggled when my friends enter into new romantic relationships and I feel forgotten. Or like I have to pencil in time with them. I feel like that's frustrating. And I didn't think that that was something that bothered me until time went on. But then again, I don't know if I do that. I don't know if I get into a relationship and lose sight of the people who've already been there for me. And also, is it normal for people to just be in a bubble and temporarily forget about those who are already there?
LadiiNova, this question, because I feel like she's like the only person that's kind of like, well, Cassondra too, of course. But yeah, y'all answer that.
Yeah, I was going to speak for myself. So I feel like I have done that in the past, and it's because of how that goes for me, like relationship-wise. It wasn't that I was trying to neglect you all, but it was another aspect where I'm getting to know somebody in another realm with other things that won't be shared with you all. It's like another level. Do I feel like I missed out on a lot? Yeah, I did. I definitely did. Sorry about the noise. Parents are home. But
Fine time.
yeah, I this time, and here comes all the shuffling, all the bags and crinkling. I'm so sorry.
Aww.
Don't buy into that. But yeah. I just like sometimes you need that window to where you can just focus on the relationship itself to figure out where it's going. But after that, no, you shouldn't forget where they're, you know, where your friends.
I think there's a healthy balance, though. I think that there's a healthy balance between getting to know someone new and then also not, because to me, that's losing sight of your individuality, in my opinion. Yeah. When you are so caught up in a bubble that you can't even see straight and you're not doing the things you normally would do because you always have to be with this person, I feel like then you're losing sight of who you are outside of them before they came along.
Right.
I don't agree with that really, though. So I feel like, and it's not always on purpose, you know, like Megan said, or LadiiNova said, sometimes you get into a relationship with this new person, you know, and it's not on purpose. It's not like you say, hey, I'm going to only focus on this person and screw everybody that came before, you know. It's new, it's exciting, it's different, you know, and it's not a bad thing. You're just getting to know this new person.
I don't think it's a bad thing, but then who's going to be there to pick up the pieces when or if that ends?
And then
after you're out of your bubble.
And I just was about to say, that's where communication works. That's why it's a big deal, because like you said, you communicated that with Trey and said, look, this is how I'm feeling, as opposed to, because like he didn't know, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, if I ever do that, even now, let me know. And it's never on purpose. It's just, you don't think about it, you know? So it's up to that person to say, look, this is how I'm feeling. Now, then it's up to the other person to say, oh, well, you have to make the conscientious decision to balance it. Like, it's not, I don't think it comes naturally. I think that's something you have to purposely plan, you know, like I'm going to balance my other friendships with my romantic friendship. And so nobody feels left out, because what you also don't want to do is get into a new relationship with somebody and then you're only with your friends. And then they're going to be like, well, dang, you don't want to spend no time with me either, you know? So it's up to them to communicate that with you as well. So you have to purposely balance it out.
I also don't want to spend time with your boo. Like, if I spend time with my friend, I want to spend time with my friend. I don't want to, every time we go out, it's me, you, and them. I don't want to do that.
Okay, now that's different. That's 100% different. If you feel like y'all got to be joint at the hip and they can't do anything without you, like I said, and that'll be different. You came all the way down here to see me, and it's just like, well, the three of us can go because, me and him are one, and we have to do everything together. Now, that's inconsiderate and rude.
Cassondra, you brought up a good point, because it's like, at least speaking for me and you personally, like, of course, you met your husband while y'all in college, and me and you were like still like connected and still like calling and checking in on each other, like even through our freshman year. So at least for her, I didn't personally feel like, well, I mean, of course we were like on like we were in two different cities, but still, even with we still were able to like to communicate and still like have our like 3:00 in the morning conversations after so, even with that. So I mean, I would say Cassandra's like the only friend of mine that I didn't have an issue with that with, like like a lot of my friends, they got into the relationships and I would never hear from them again. I didn't have a problem with it because I mean I expected they had their own thing going on, but Cassandra's like the only person I can think of right now. Well, Megan too, or LadiiNova too, but mostly Cassondra. That like friendship kind of like 100% like how it was before she got into her situation.
And I'm about to admit, like, I fall into that bracket from the previous one because I did feel bad that there was nobody else around for them to know. So that's why I did it. But after a while, I was like, hey, go find people, do things, because I'm over here with my people. We ain't got to be like this 24/7. Like, they just walking out of here. I love them, but I see it all the time. They go to work together, they go to lunch, they come home, go to church. I'm like, don't y'all get sick of each other? Like, isn't there a point where y'all want to break? And they'll just, even if it's a small one in the house, it's like he's back here, she's in the room. But I didn't have that point where I felt like, dang, I don't want Trey to think that I always want to include this person just because we're in a relationship, and I don't want that person to feel like I don't want them around. So at that point, I'm like, I kind of feel stuck, so I just stopped. And I was in a place where I didn't want to. Now I'm encouraged to go with my friends, talk to them on the phone, check in. I'm like, not like they're making me do it, it's just like, you've had friends before I got here.
Right.
So,
and that speaks to the individuality that I was talking about. Like, you had your life before this person came along, right? You had your friends, you had your routine, you had your hobbies. So why is it that when they come, all those things are put on hold? That's the piece that and maybe that's where I'm doing wrong in my relationships, because I feel like, yes, I'm with you, yes, I like you, yes, I want to spend time with you, but I also need Dacia time to do whatever it is that I want to do without you. I was going to ask you, Trey, do you feel like it doesn't bother you as much when your friends get into relationships because you're extroverted and you already have a huge pool of friends to pull from, versus someone who is introverted like myself, and I have my tribe, I have my people. So it's like, once one of these 5 people get into a relationship, it's like, who's left? Right? So I feel like that makes a difference, but
and to answer your question, that is true. And I was just going to say that and I was going to say for me, it's kind of like, I haven't been in a relationship in like since 2018. So even with that, my issue now is managing friendships. So it's like, if I'm with one friend, another friend may feel some type of way because I'm spending so much time with this friend that, trust me, that happens to me even now. So yeah, like I said before, but to answer your question, Dashia, yes, that does happen, because I mean, y'all know might as well say I'm extroverted. Y'all think that, but I think I'm an ambivert. But whatever. that I have a large friend group. So I mean, if one friend gets in a relationship, it really doesn't bother me. Like, I mean, I'm not going to make you spend time with me because obviously I know that you're putting in time with this person that you say that you want to spend your rest of your life with, or whatever the case is, you know. So, you know, I'm not going to be that friend that's going to be so stingy with you because I have other friends.
And see, that's my point. What I want, because I've met other people who don't understand this. When I say it's a difference and you need that time apart, like Trey said, if you're trying to spend the rest of your life with this person, think about how much is going to come and connect with that. Y'all are going to share a house. Y'all are going to share bills. You might have kids. There's going to be a lot of stuff tied into it where you just can't say, I'm going to walk away from it, I'm done. No, you got to go through a lot to get out of that. Versus your friends, you can still talk to them about what's going on, but if they're your true friends and know who you truly are, they're not going to leave you. They'll give you advice, they'll talk to you, but you already built, like us here, we've already built that foundation since high school. I know y'all aren't going anywhere because I said so. And where are you going?
Listen, because
where are you going with everything you know about me? You don't get to just up and leave.
Listen, because I'm about to rant real quick because y'all know I'm that one friend that's had so many friends who be back and forth with like all these people who done F them over, who done did God knows what to them, but I don't know, but I still love him or I still love her. Don't come to me. Like, please don't. Like, I am tired of hearing the story of how this person did wrong 15, 20, 25 million times, but yet you still going back to them after I done told you. Matter of fact, I'll maybe give you an encouragement maybe twice to say, hey, you know, just there's many fish in the sea. After that, you still coming back to me with the same bullshit? No.
Like, it's a wrap.
Listen, and I can,
because it's like, what else can I tell you that you already know? That you already like that exactly, because it's kind of like I'm not going to keep on giving you the same shit that you already know that you need to do to get out of this toxic ass relationship. It's toxic.
And
toxic.
That's the best thing about our friendship. Like, I can honestly let it be known, like, if I came to y'all with a situation, I really am stumped, and y'all are going to give me advice to the best of your ability. Cool. If I decide to go out and do it again and I come back and tell y'all, like Tre'Dub said, twice, I know not to come back to y'all with it again, because why? And I'm the same way. I'm all them people that came to me, oh my God, he didn't call me and he didn't, this was like, okay, well, why do you think that is? Why do you feel like you need this relationship to be established and y'all have only been talking for like a month? Just cool it. Well, I know, well, when did you? And it's like, bruh, just talk to people. Don't force stuff. And now you're mad at me because I'm not answering my phone. I don't want to wake up to that 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, you crying in my ear. He hasn't called me. Yeah, nigga, he ain't called you in a month. It's not like it's new information. It's been there. Somebody may call me a messed up friend.
Yeah.
But again, I'm protective. If any one of you three or any of my other friends was like, you know, I'm with this person and we've been together, you know, 6 months plus, close to a year, and, you know, they still doing me wrong, I'm going to give you advice. If I feel like it's still continuing and the treatment is worse and worse, I'm sorry, I'm going to be that friend. So why are we not breaking up and why are we not finding hoes? Because there's no ring on your finger. There's no need for you to still be here. You're still going to be crying about the same stuff over and over and over, and now you're mad because I can't remember their name. I don't want to. Why do I need to log you? Why do I need to log? I'm never going to go on a double date with y'all. We're not going to be friends. We're not going on trips together because I don't like you. I'm very quick to let you know I don't like you, and I don't think you need to be my friend. They could do better, and I knew who they could have been with, but we'll wait.
Listen, I feel like I've been that one friend that when my friends come to me with their relationship issues, they be like, Trey, I just need a night out. I just need a night out to just forget about all my problems. Okay. And then,
done it for me.
Right. Another point I'm going to bring up is for those friends who are those misery love company type of bitches, go to hell. Because it's like, and if y'all don't know what that is, it's basically like, oh, well, if Cassondra was to call me and say, or her husband is doing a type of way, and I would be that toxic ass friend, leave him because he's doing this for all type of other people. Fuck that. Because Because obviously I'm not perfect. I've been in situations where I've dealt with people that undid me wrong, and I still went back or whatever the case. It's like we've all been there, we've all been in love before, I'm sure. So it's like at the end of the day, everyone is the individual to know, like, you know, what is it that they need to do, or what is like best for themselves to handle that specific situation or whatever. So yeah, like those misery love companies type of friends could go to ultimate hell.
What does that look like if you live with the friend and they're in a relationship?
If you live with your friend who's in a relationship?
Yes.
Set boundaries, have that conversation and say, look, this is what's happening. This is how I feel. It's up to them to say, you know, whoa, she's telling me how she feels about this particular situation. And I feel like it's kind of not irresponsible, inconsiderate of them to not make the decision to say, okay, well, I'm living with this person, we're friends, but now I have somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, they have to purposely balance that out. So then they have to purposely say, okay, well, like you said, don't lose yourself. Me and my friend lived together before this person came along. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to lose our friendship, and I don't want to be so drowned into this new person that I forget about my friend, because that's not fair either.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it takes communication on all ends, because a person isn't going to know what's crossing your boundary until you've made your boundary clear.
I mean, and you can make it clear and they'll still act like it's not a thing, and then that puts your friendship in question. Because if it was any of you and we all lived together, you know, prior to a relationship, I would feel like we're having that conversation like, hey, they need some place to stay for a little bit and then they're going to find the spot, or this lease is about to be up. Do you want to keep it or we keep it? I feel like it's a lot of things that need to happen in between it.
Yeah.
When Trey was talking earlier, I think the biggest connection to this was Trey and my husband have the exact same birthday. And I don't even want to say it was devastating, but it was like, oh my gosh, like Trey is my best friend and now my boyfriend have the same birthday, you know, so how's that going to work? And then I had to make the decision to be like, look, I can't sit there and, although that's my husband, I can't say I'm going to be with you every single year, because Trey was my best friend first, you know what I'm saying? So then I have to be like, okay, well, let's compromise. Let's do this for your birthday this year. We can do something next year for Trey and Chad. So I
always end up with Scorpios too. I don't know what the issue is, but
Attitude. Let us Scorpios breathe.
But
I was saying no. I was saying that to say this. I think it is possible to even balance that, because let's say I do end up with a Scorpio. I feel like there's a way to celebrate everyone, so that no one feels left out, even if that's like, oh, let's go take a trip for all the Scorpio people within our group.
Now, see, this is strictly me and Trey as friends. I felt that way because we are literally a week apart. And he wanted us to do stuff for our birthday, and at the time I couldn't because I was working or I didn't have the bread. And I'm not going to be that person to just be like, oh yeah, I'm going with no money. Now, he did buy tickets for us to go to the Her concert because we had never, you know, celebrated our birthday together or done anything. Cool. Last year, although it wasn't November itself, I still went to Atlanta. I'm like, I don't get to celebrate my best friend. I won't be able to go to Houston because I would have already been in Dallas for a week and I had to come back. You know, cool. I'll just go out there now, celebrate with him, pay for whatever, you know, drinks or food he want, and then come back and do my own stuff. But some people don't know how to do that even within friends, because they feel like they have to be 24/7. Like, I've had so many people look at me and it's like, oh, you say Tre'Dub is your best friend, but he's calling somebody else's best friend and they hanging out. And I'm like, okay,
Childish.
What is this, kindergarten?
Childish.
let me interject with that, because
he struck a nerve. Go ahead.
I'm sure y'all have known this since I was in high school. Yes, I have probably about 10 best friends. There's nothing wrong with that. And I'm going to tell you why nothing wrong with that. Because at the end of the day, these 3 women are my best friends. Now, I may have a best friend here in Atlanta. I may have a best friend from college. But that doesn't mean shit. Because at some point, you are going to talk to other people. You're going to get to know other people when these 3 aren't around.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just like at some point you have to grow into be, you know, your own individual. And I think that every one of these women now really kind of understand that as their own individual, that you have to be kind of like, you know, your own person at the end of the day, because at some point you're going to meet other people when you move to a whole different state. You move to, like, you know, going to college or whatever. You're going to meet people that's like going to be, not say more in tune with you, but you're going to meet people that's going to be, you know, close to you, at least some have share the same interests of some sort. So, you know, there's nothing wrong with having 10 best friends. So people that have that mentality that you only have to have one best friend in your life, you must be one lonely ass bitch.
That is exactly what that is. And I never understood why people were so much in my business about it. I'm like, oh, I see him on Snap with this person, best friend. I'm like, okay, and I'm at work. What am I supposed to do? Tell him to come and sit at work with me?
Right.
Just because
or no,
I can't go and have fun?
Miserable and lonely because you're not with him. No.
Like, it's dumb. Now, I do want to ask, because somebody asked me this. Getting off relationships, friendships in itself.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that you can tell one friend something and not all of them? Because someone once upon a time got an attitude with me that I discussed something personal with Tre'Dub and Dashia, but not with them. And I'm like,
is that about me?
No.
Oh.
This was I said if it was you, girl.
Spill the tea in this episode.
But it is an ex-friend of mine. Y'all know I make friends all over the map because I just don't do well with walking up to people on the street. I do a lot of online stuff. But they were upset because I shared something personal. It was a stupid decision I hadn't made. And I was like, this is what happened, this, and the third. And I kind of went ghost. And I let everybody know what it was that happened, why I went ghost. They called me and I was like, I haven't talked to him. And I was like, yeah, I got a lot going on. And it was like, oh, well, what was it? I'm like, I can't discuss it. Well, who did you tell it to? I'm like, I talked to my friends from high school. And I'm like, well, why you can't tell me? Because I don't have to tell you. I know what their response would have been. Like, I know y'all would have been upset and, you would have had something to say. But at the end of it, you would have been compassionate. There would have been some sympathy. And we could have really, had a leveled out conversation without making me feel like crap at the end of it. And then, again, y'all ain't no friends. Let's go break their window. Let's go do... I don't need that.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I don't need that type of stuff on my head. But they got a whole attitude. I think you should tell all your friends and it shouldn't be pick and choose. Do you go and tell your family everything? You don't?
I think it depends on two different things. The first thing being seasons. So I feel like all relationships go through different seasons, right? When we were in high school, even though we had our group of close friends, there were certain people who were closer to each other than others. So I feel like in high school, I was closer to the fifth person of this group. And Cassondra and Trey were closer. That changed when we got to college. That changed again after college. And now here we are. So I feel like depending on who you're the closest to within that group of people, that might be who you go to. But also the second thing is, what are you looking for? So I feel like y'all come to me for a very... I feel like y'all come to me, I think, for a very therapeutic
level-headed answer.
Whereas like if I go to Cassondra, I know Cassandra's going to be very optimistic. I'm a realist, so I tend to not be very optimistic. So if I know I want like cherry and rainbows, I'm gonna go to Cassondra.
Not her being ice cream Sunday.
Oh my God.
Because she will say something positive. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I need to try to reframe my negative thinking, right? If I go to Megan is going to pull from her own experience to tell me certain things. She's not going to... Some people are very closed off and they're not going to be as vulnerable, but I feel like if I'm sharing something that I'm struggling with, she'll be like, yeah, I was there. She's very good at empathy, even though she doesn't think she is. She's good at saying, like, I went through this specific thing. This is how I handled it. Right? And then Trey is... one thing I wanted to add, going back, I don't even remember who said the question at this point, but I am a person who... I like to call it share the love. So like if I'm going through a really tough time, I'm not going to just talk to Cassondra or just talk to Trey or just talk to LadiiNova. I'm going to talk to all of them, but just different conversations because I never want to feel like I'm putting all of my stuff onto one person.
Yeah.
And then also people have different levels of comfort when it comes to vulnerability. So I feel like in our group, I am the person who I would probably say I'm the most willing to talk about hard feelings when I have them. Whereas the rest of you guys tend to internalize a lot and be internal processors. I can process things internally, but I do better talking them out. And I don't know if that's because I'm in therapy or that I am a therapist, but just going back to people have different levels of vulnerability. And so that's also going to influence who they talk to and how much they share. So like the mixture of the two, he can share his experience, but he also will follow it up with like, well, maybe you should try this and kind of go from there. So I think it just depends on the season of that relationship, but then also what are you looking for in the feedback? You have your hand raised.
Which tray you talking about? Because the tray I get is let's go get drinks.
But again, he's speaking to you. Y'all's relationship looks different than him and I's relationship.
I can't say that to her.
Right.
You're right, because I'm like, Trey, I'm mad. Shut up. I'm like,
but with that, Megan, because even though I will say, oh well, let's take a shot or whatever, we still discuss the nature of whatever the problem is or whatever, but in the midst of having fun, you know. So and I'm glad you brought that up, Dashia, because like and I know y'all not gonna be bothered by this, but I tell certain friends certain things. You know, like I recently shared something with all three of y'all that really was traumatic for me this year or whatever. And so like I've only shared that piece of information with certain people. And so because I know what type of reaction I'm going to get, and I also know who, like Dashia said, where I'm going to get the best feedback from. Because, you know, that situation really like, you know, really damaged me. So, you know, I'm not going to like, you know, be telling the world something like that, you know? So yeah, like but the point is to have like that kind of openness with multiple people, only to kind of see who is going to give you the best feedback when it comes to your close friends. Obviously, you don't want to be telling the world all the business. So yeah.
What can you do to manage having romantic relationships and friendships? You know, just managing your friendships in general. I feel like that's what it was. How do you manage your relationships? Go ahead.
I think the perfect way to basically kind of like work your way through that, no matter if it's friendships or relationships, is for the person, the main party that's involved, is to communicate to that new friend or that new relationship that, hey, I'm obviously an extroverted person. I have millions of friends or whatever that, you know, I usually hang out with. Now I see that this relationship or friendship is going to go more than just an acquaintance. So maybe at some point we all could be friends, or, you know, or whatever the case is. You know, obviously if you're in a relationship, that's different, but I feel like just communication, period. And I know we've always talked about this in all of our episodes, but communication is key. And then people say that for a reason.
Communication, but also intentions. So you can communicate and say, hey, I feel left out. Remember me? But then that doesn't mean that everything will change. So sometimes you might have to schedule and say like, okay, what's a show that we can watch together? And every week on Wednesday, we're going to watch the show together. Or what can we do? Can we go get brunch on Saturdays? That's our time together outside of whatever else is going on.
yeah, I agree. It should be communication. And then, you know, once you've put in the actions or try to make those actions come through, just realizing, you know, when to call it quits. You can't fix everybody in every relationship. Some things are just not, like Dashia said, you got your seasons. Maybe now that person's season is over. Maybe they no longer need to be there. Like, just know you've done your best. You may have picked up some things from them to learn from and grow from, but that doesn't mean you have to stay there in that, because that's just, you're just going to end up with the toxic relationship.
You know, LadiiNova, it is so funny you say that, because believe it or not, I just learned that a few months ago.
Oh, really?
And no, so seriously, and it's, I can only speak for myself. It's something I've always heard, you know, like people say this, and we heard this since we was little, you know, like everybody's not meant to stay in your life. People come in seasons, blah, blah, blah. But I was always so optimistic. I'm always thinking, well,
Rainbows, butterflies.
I always looked at it as, you meet people for a reason. You know what I'm saying? So I never looked at it as that's your season. I looked at it as, okay, they're in your life. They're meant to be here. And it was very hard for me to let friendships go, especially because if we were like legit friends, it was just always hard to say, you know, well, we're growing apart. I have some ex-friends now who we were so close. I mean, legit best friends. And we just grew apart. And there's no hard feelings. We legit just grew apart. And it was so hard. And I feel like I was trying so hard to cling on and hold on so tight. You know what I'm saying? And then a few months ago, I just had to be like, you know, it's okay. It is completely okay to let those friendships go. No hard feelings. Like LadiiNova said, everybody's season is different. You just let it go. It's fine.
I mean, our seasons will change as people continue to get married, people start to have kids, like things will continue to evolve. It's about the communication and being intentional. So
that, as well as knowing yourself, because again, you can try to communicate that, you know, you feel like things are taking a different turn, and you can be, you know, very open about it. Again, Cassondra, you got married. I'm not going to sit here and do what people assumed or old school ways. You're married, we shouldn't hang together. I don't care what you do over there. I didn't ask you to marry me, but it's Saturday. You done been with him all day. We're going to Mellow Mushroom, because I'm not going to do nothing that's going to cause you to get a divorce. But we're going out. I don't want to walk the bridge, but, you know, that's what we got to do to keep our friendship going. Then it is what it is. But hey, most people just don't know when to walk away, and they feel like when they do, they owe people a response. You don't. Again, because you've done your part. And if that person wants to keep going and antagonize you, again, we're in the era of social media where they're going to come up, "That be fake. She said we was best friends and she turned her back on me." Girl, look what you're doing.
Right.
Look what you're doing. It's like the thing I saw, this girl got mad because her best friend didn't wait to take a job when she was ready so they can come up together. Honey, she's got bills stacking up.
Oh, no.
She's got a car note due. She probably out here helping her mama with something. I can't, that's fake of you to move on and you know we was both going for the same job and you get a job that pay more than me.
Sound like jealousy to me. Everybody ain't your friend. Low-key hater.
And how is that my problem that you didn't want to do that job? I think we should find something else. What you want me to do? Work at the call center with you?
Yeah, I was thinking be messy.
I sound like two high schoolers trying to get into the same class. Please calm down.
Right.
These are grown women. And the girl was like, am I wrong for not talking to her? I said, girl, for what? For having your goals set in front of you? And now that person is going to be bashing you, talking about we're not friends because they left me at this job and they didn't want to include me. And she knew I didn't want to work that job. Girl, you don't want to work, period. Say that. Just say you don't want to work. I do. You don't. And that's fine. Even if you had a type of friend, you could still be friends. If you have goals and they just, you know, they're comfortable where they are, cool. Support me, I'll support you. But if you feel like I got to sit here and wait for you, honey, you can be at that bus stop a long time. Because I'm going to be on that bus. Made it in time. But whatever.
So let us know how you guys are balancing your friendships, relationships, and just your overall life. How are you balancing those things? Join us every Monday.
Like,
comment,
subscribe.
And yes, that's that.